Hello and welcome. This video is going to help you lead students through Lesson 4, Budget Setup, and Lesson 5, Game On. Lesson 4, the Budget Setup, will take you through this section, and then Lesson 5, students will complete this section. So first thing you'll notice is there are green cells in here, and those signify fixed cost that the students chose on day 1 of the game. And so for example, graphic designer, engineer, their apartment costs, and their cell phone plan. So to speed things up, I went ahead and captured those already. So students would just type those in their spreadsheet. Now there's 2 other types of information needed on our spreadsheet. These signal that there's a formula required. Chance cards change every week. Students will pick 4 different chance cards, so those will be entered each week. And homework and prepared will also change each week, and I'll talk to you more about that. So let's start writing some formulas. I'm going to start with equals, and it says taxes are 20% of the income. Remember, I can click on a cell and it'll write it for me. So I can click and type Shift 8, and it gives me the asterisk, and then the decimal equivalent of 20%. Now notice when I click in there, it actually rewrites it as 2/10, which is equivalent. Students may notice that, just be prepared for that. And then balance after taxes, well, I got to start with my beginning salary. Then I've got to subtract my taxes, which is in B4. Now I got to pay my rent and see what my balance after rent is. So I'm going to go get my balance after taxes, subtract my rent from it, and then hit return. And then down here, we have to find food, which is 15% of the income after taxes. So if we go up, that's B5. So I'm going to take that. So equals B5 times the decimal equivalent of 15%, 0.15. And I'm going to hit return. Now, total monthly expenses, we're going to use our first function. So we're going to start by typing equals sum, and it gives me a list of different functions. I want sum a series of numbers and or cells. And this time I'm just going to type it. B9, the first number in my series, colon, that tells it through B13. And then I'm going to close up that parenthesis and hit return. Then balance after expenses, I'm going to say equals, go up here and get the balance after rent, and I need to subtract all my total monthly expenses. So I'm going to hit return. Okay, and that brings students through Lesson 4, Budget Setup, and it's very guided in the slideshow, but I wanted to just walk you through it in case you haven't had any experience in Sheets before. All right, next part is the chance cards. So let me show you what that looks like. Get back to my... So each week they pick 4 chance cards, and let's say that the students got these ones. So they went to the dentist for a cavity, $350, got blood tests, $125, and went shopping for $90, and then took a salsa class. So they would record those amounts, and then they would get the total additional expenses. So now they got to tally those up. So we're going to use that sum function again, start to type it. And, oh, it already did it for us. I'm going to try that again and see if I can. So here it's already doing it for me. When it tries to write a formula for me, I like to do click to get out of that. And now I can, no, it doesn't even recognize that. Equals sum. I'm going to go ahead and write it again. I'm going to teach you a shortcut in the next one. 17 through B20. And then I'm going to hit return. And then balance after expenses. That means I got to go back up to where I last had my balance. And sorry, after additional expenses. So equals what we had left over up top minus all the additional expenses we just paid. And we hit return. And now homework. Homework is something you need to decide each round of the game. And so, for example, here are a couple ideas for you. So Zern lessons, maybe if you guys do Zern or Excel, you could pay students for how many they did per week when you play. Or you could charge, give them income for completing homework, 100, not completing it, 0. So let's say I did my homework and that supplies, same thing. This is editable, and so you need to make your choices and then record it in the spreadsheets, or in the slideshows. And so let's say I brought 3 of the supplies with me, 75. Now I notice yours, I'm going to make sure your sheet is double check your sheet that it's formatted correctly, but I notice that this is not formatted correctly. So I'm going to just go over to this whole row and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add place values. And so now it's keeping track of it. And I also notice it changed the font on here, and the rest of the font is this. So just a couple formatting things. Balance from previous month, we didn't play last month, so it's 0. Total additional income, we got to add these up, everything under additional income. So equals sum, and now I'm going to teach you the trick. So if I come up here and I click the first cell and I drag down and then add a parentheses, it already completes the formula for me. And then month-end balance, we got to go up. Last time we had a balance was balance after additional expenses here. And so, oops, I just messed that up. Okay, notice how I had an equal sign and it tried to write me a formula for that. So I'm going to go back up, equals, grab that value, and then I'm going to add my additional income that I made to get my balance. All right, so that was, again, took you through lesson 4, budget setup, lesson 5, game on. Now, round 2 is the copy and paste lesson, and I'm going to teach you some tricks here really quick. So one option for copying formulas and numbers over is to take and select what you want to copy and simply drag. And notice when I click in, I see that this was equals B5 minus B6. Here it changes to C5 minus C6. So it automatically does the work for us. Another option is to use the keyboard shortcuts to copy and paste. It's super important that they do this. If they go up and they do copy and paste from up here, they're only going to paste the values. And we want to actually get the formulas. So Command C, because I'm on a Mac, Command V. For you, it would maybe be Control C, Control V. And let's test it out. So here again, it was B's. Here, it's C's. So I do not have kids copy over the chance cards, but I do have them before we do the chance cards just to speed things up. I have them copy over everything that's a formula. So, and in week 2, another change is that we do have a balance from our previous month, and we find that balance in B28. It's our month imbalance from the month before. Okay, and so then they would play round 2. Round 3 is possibly the most fun because students meet their soulmate and have a baby. And so we have to make room in our budget for the baby. So we're going to come down here in row 20, we're going to click it and say insert below, insert below. Okay, and I'm going to say baby card 1, baby card. Let's say I messed up and said 1 again. If I want to make a change there, I can either go up to my formula bar and type it there, or I can double click in the cell and make my change. Notice that it didn't format correctly. So if I go in here, I can add the lines by clicking on the borders. And I want to make sure I've got the right style. This is thick. I don't want thick. So I'm going to go get the thin one. And then I'm going to click all borders. And notice I lost this thicker one here. I'm going to go put that back. So here, I'm going to choose thick. And then I'm going to look for the one that matches. Oh, I just need the top. So I'm going to click that. And then boom, we're back in. Now, let's look at our formula for total additional expenses. I'm going to drag it over. Notice it only goes through C20. If we leave this formula the same, we're not going to actually be adding our baby expenses in there. So students need to go up and adjust this to be through C22. Oop, I just did it in the wrong one. Let's try that again. I'm going to drag this one over, and then this one, I'm going to fix by dragging that one back over. And then I'm going to go back up here and say D22. And now it will count that up. So that's it. And have a great time playing with your students.